El ataque levantando de esta manera y tomando los dos brazos hacia afuera se va. El Doctor Salvaje de este primer intercambio se queja de que lo tomaron.
I just love the thrill about it. I love the suspense. I love, when there's a pop. I love just being anxious. I love following a character. I love everything that there is to do with the business. It's just something that's never left me. It's always been with me. It's the sport of professional wrestling.
Con el relevo para Soccer que desde las alturas escaló hasta la...
What I love most is just basically I can be myself fully. I don't have to hide. And if people love you, they love you. If they don't, they don't. But you could still be yourself at the end of the day.
What you are in the ring is what you make of it. I can be as aggressive as I want to be. I can get out all my frustrations, or I can bring excitement, like whatever emotion I'm feeling when I get in the ring, I can bring that with me, and that feels amazing.
I used to watch Lucha Libre with my dad every Sunday. I always loved the acrobats, the larger-than-life characters, and that was always my dream. That was like the big bond between me and my dad. When I watched them on TV or live, they were like my heroes. They're like heroes to the children. And one of my dreams is one day be looked at as a role model or one of their heroes, be like, I want to be like him.
¡El Capitán!
Pues siempre he sido fan de la lucha desde que tenía uso de razón. Lo dejé un poco, me aparté por no tener las mismas amistades, por así decirlo, que no se llevaban también con la lucha libre, pero fue después de que salí del colegio que me atreví a venir aquí a tratar de buscar este sueño que nunca pensé en realidad, pero pues aquí estoy.
It is total entertainment. It's action, it's theater, it's everything anybody could ever want. So how can you not like professional wrestling?
This time last year, I think we were on a roll. The shows were doing great. The Academy, the beginners, we were doing awesome. We had just participated in the last show at Mount Pleasant, so we were rolling with that energy.
We had bookings on the calendar all the way through the year.
We were expecting that 2020 was really going to be our year. We had, I think, close to 100 shows lined up, and those were just the ones that we had set in stone going into 2020, and we were going to get more for sure.
This time last year, I had just made my big show in-ring debut.
It was packed. It was fun. It was full of energy. Everyone was happy. Everyone was feeling the adrenaline, and
the energy on that show was just indescribable. It was, this is the beginning of something. This is where we're going to start in 2020. We're going to take it. We're going to take the ball and we're going to run with it.
We were excited to get that momentum going and keep it going. And we had no clue that we were going to have this amazing night and debut and have it be this big spectacle and then have it just cut.
It was exciting times, but of course, it's COVID.
Breaking news. The first death from coronavirus here in the United States. A man in his 50s dying from COVID-19 infection in Washington State.
In the back of our minds, we knew that something was coming, that something like the pandemic was coming, that there was a lockdown coming.
When I talk about that, it kind of frustrates me. I'm not sure how much longer I got in this thing. I'm not sure how much longer I'm gonna be wrestling. You can look me in the face and see that I'm not a young 20-year-old dude. So how much time do I got left? How many more matches do I have? That's what's bugging me.
When the pandemic happened, I feel like it hurted us. It gave us a big blow, a low blow, It just put everything on hold for us, We just thought to ourselves, what's next? Where do we go from here?
I had just moved into a new place. I got laid off from my job. Couldn't see my girlfriend for months. We broke up just over text. I wasn't able to see my family for months. My dad caught COVID. He was okay, fortunately, but he caught COVID. It was scary, especially living in San Jose where it's such a crowded area. We were the first people, Santa Clara County was the first county to really get hit. We had the first infection, we had the first death, and it was scary.
It's been really challenging to have so much time on my hands and have to sit with my own thoughts and sit with my own emotions.
In a way, it made me more conscious of really how fragile is life and how things can change in a second.
I am watching my kids at home a lot more because of the pandemic, but I'm with my kids a lot more because of the pandemic, and now we've bonded a lot more because of this, so it is a mixed bag.
In a weird way, it's also, I think, it brought people together, especially with Revolution. I think it's brought us together. The people that stuck around for Revolution, that's a solid core, you know. It's made us appreciate our friends. It's made us appreciate the time that we have with our friends. It's made me, especially, appreciate the time that I got with my friends and the people in my life, my family. And I think a lot of people, me included, were taking some of that for granted. I think I was taking wrestling for granted too, in a large part, and I think a lot of people were in Revolution were taking it for granted in their own way, and I don't think we will again.
The hardest part about the pandemic, honestly, was just feeling like I was locked up in my house, because I'm not that type of person. I don't like to be locked in one place, and honestly, it just affected me a lot of ways, but I had two choices: get depressed about it or adjust and learn how to get myself out of that funk. So I'm not gonna lie, I hit a part where I was really sad, but then I was just like, no, forget this, let's get my social media going, let's do something. So yeah.
Esto, el cuadrilátero, estar enfrente del público, dejarlo todo cada vez que entro a luchar, defender el campeonato que aún no he podido hacer. La convivencia con mis compañeros, los que están aquí, que vinieron antes a la entrevista, o el antes, después de cada evento, todo eso.
I miss going to the movies. I miss dining out. I miss not having to go to the store with a mask on. I would prefer to be able to go to a movie in the afternoon. I'd prefer to be able to take my wife on a date out. We've had 2 anniversaries where we had to spend them now at home. So that's life.
I miss just not worrying about stuff like this, you know? This is, I miss just being in this ring with everybody. I miss laughing. I miss doing the norm, you know?
I miss just hanging out with everybody. I miss wrestling. I miss shows. And just the bonds we all have here. Just to think that I got taken away like that, it hurt. It hurt.
One of the things I miss most is being able to just go out to a place, to a restaurant, and just get a steak. That's silly, but I mean, I miss the normalcy, you know, and that's just been ripped away. And things will get better, obviously, yeah, but things won't go back to normal.
What I miss most is interacting with people and just seeing them face to face. There's even family that I haven't seen since the pandemic started, and I miss my family. I miss being here in the ring the most, because it's what I decided to do when I joined Revolution, and then for that to be taken away from me, it's really frustrating.
Honestly, wrestling kind of saved me, because I was quote-unquote lost after I graduated high school, that I couldn't go to college, and when I found wrestling, I found something to do with my life, you know? So when all of a sudden I don't have it anymore, I was again in that place where I was like, then what do I do in my life?
I would miss not knowing what COVID was. That's one thing I miss, is not knowing what COVID was.
So December 10th of 2020, I got COVID. And honestly, it was the worst thing I could ever experience. I couldn't breathe. I literally couldn't walk, for an example, like from this side of the ring to the other without sweating, without feeling like I couldn't breathe.
My brother has. And he already had plenty of respiratory problems as it is. As a kid, he had bronchitis. But he's recovered.
I do. He is no longer with me. He's actually a close friend of mine from Mexico. I was probably with him 2 days before he passed away. And I remember when I first got there, I was one of the only people to wear a mask. And they would tell me, "Why do you wear a mask for?" And I told them, I really do believe that there is a virus out there. And he was the one always telling me, he's like, "Bro, it's like, look, this is life. There's nothing wrong, man." I want to say we went to a party, and again, I had my face mask. A lot of my buddies didn't. And there was a big spread of it out there during that party. I'm still amazed how I still, and I knock on wood, I thank God I still haven't contracted it yet. But just like that, just in a moment of seconds, you don't know who's gonna get it. It's just crazy how 2020 came and it just took a lot of good people away from us, a lot of great people.
I mean, you hear all this talk about vaccines and all the news every day being spoken about how it will get better and we will get better. I mean, you got other pandemics that happened before throughout the course of history, and they got over it and were able to get back to a level of normalcy, right? So I think we're gonna get back to it. I'm hopeful. We need to get back to it. We need to.
When we weren't able to do physical classes, we switched to doing online classes. So we were going over psychology, ring psychology. We were going over promos, how to speak. We were going over even like business aspects. How do you set yourself up as an independent contractor? How do you do your taxes as a wrestler? It's the ticky-tacky things that are important, but you wouldn't think about.
I'll tell you what, there's no training like in-ring training. There's no training like taking bumps and wrestling. But you have to make adjustments in a time like this. And one of the things that Pro Wrestling Revolution Training Academy did was they adjusted their training regimen to make sure that we were still learning, just in another capacity.
Revolution had to change in the way of our training. We're just not stopping, we keep going. There's always something to learn, and I really appreciate that about here because it's things that I wouldn't have learned in the ring. Before, I would have never had the courage to just cut a promo out of nowhere, and now we're just learning, cut a promo, we're just learning. If you just disappear, you're not gonna be remembered.
Pues empezamos un poco batalloso porque la verdad todavía no teníamos ni idea de cómo se iba a arreglar, pero eventualmente logramos hacer las clases en línea a través de Zoom, que todavía seguimos haciendo y probablemente seguiremos haciendo porque nos ha estado funcionando. Y pues como sabe, nuestro promotor Gabriel fue el que empezó a hacer esto como la máscara que traes puesta, que nos ha ayudado a mantener un poco más este lugar. Y ahorita la situación se está mejorando, posiblemente volvemos a entrenar aquí, pero...
When Gabe first brought the online class, I thought it was silly, because it's like, how are we gonna learn how to bump in the ring or something through a computer? And then when the months went by, I realized that there's much more than only the moves. There's also psychology that goes behind it. There's also a lot of thinking that you have to put in your match. This pandemic showed every single one of the students that wrestling is more than just taking a bump or doing a flip.
I think we are learning just as much as if we were in the ring.
We've had this big boom with the lucha masks. That's been incredible to watch.
One of the things I love about Gabe Ramirez, Shannon Ramirez, Pro Wrestling Revolution, everybody underneath that umbrella is the hustle.
We've grown closer as a unit because people that'll stand with you through this, it's like that old play, Henry III. Whoever stands with me through this will be my brother. We've all stood together. So there's a lot of love, there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of hunger.
It's just the way how everybody wants to help everybody out because it's gonna push us to a next level. Everybody's got each other's back in here.
When I first came to Pro Wrestling Revolution, Gabe's wife Shannon, one of the first things she said to me, "You're gonna gain a second family." And that was nothing but the truth.
I've gone through some hard times, and honestly, the people that have been there for me the most has been the people from Revolution. So it's just made me realize who's there for you, who's not there for you, who your family is, and sometimes it doesn't have to be blood to be family.
The bonds we built with each other as classmates, friends, brothers, sisters, fathers, you know, they're special. They're really special.
I've never been a person that likes to be around people. I don't have many friends. Before I came to the training academy, I didn't have many friends. I like to keep to myself. This was really the first time that I was able to open up a little bit. I was able to just kind of let some guards down and just kind of be a little bit more of the me that I would want to be. Pro Wrestling Revolution, being here is the only time I've ever been asked about my family. How's my son? How's your daughter doing? That type of love, it goes a long way. And they don't need to do it. They want to do it because they want to embrace you like their own. So I love it, you know? It makes me feel like I'm making the right choice in being loyal.
So the reason why I feel very appreciative, one of the reasons is because I have 2 children. And there was a point in time when there was no toilet paper, there was no wipes, there was no diapers, there was nothing. And everyone was like, hey Ruby, they called me, do you have this, do you have that? And everyone just pitched in, and I literally was okay to the point where they would ask me again. I'm like, no, I'm okay. Because Gabe gave me supplies, Papo helped me out, Melissa helped me out. Just everyone did what they could to make sure I was okay. And that's just how I knew everyone had my back. Taking care of my kids is literally a job as a mother, and when you feel like you can't, and then you have this community of people just saying here, it's really, you know, heartwarming. So I'm never gonna forget that, never.
We act as a family. We don't let anybody fall behind.
This is one big family. We all have each other's backs. We're all there for each other through everything, including a global pandemic.
I think that there is going to be a new definition of normal. We're going to have to reevaluate what normal is. And then it's going to take some time until we're back to what the old days considered normal. History has shown us with past pandemics that things will come around once herd immunity happens and once we're able to adopt a new way of life. And that's just the way it's got to be. We have to adopt a new way of life of being able to not just look out for number one, but look out for each other.
As far as normal, I don't think there's ever really going to be a normal again. I think masks are going to stick around. I think masks are going to become a normal thing, but I don't think we're ever going to be completely normal again.
I guess be as patient as you can. I mean, if you're not patient, you're probably gonna go crazy. So you gotta stay patient. And one day, we'll be back. Pro Wrestling Revolution will have another show. We will have another show, and then another show, and then another, and we'll get right back to what we were doing before we left.
I would love to be enthusiastic and say by this time next year, we'll be back to normal. Yeah, I would say, that would be I would love to see that this time next year.
What keeps me excited is that we're still learning. We're still training no matter what, you know. Even if we're outside the ring, I don't want to lose focus, you know.
One thing that has not changed is we are consistently optimistic with each other. I don't think we've had anybody actually quit that I know of since we've started this pandemic. So we've constantly been giving each other words of encouragement. And the vibe is really, let's keep working this way until we can work harder. And we're optimistic. We're looking forward to getting back at it. That's the thing, optimism.
Mis sueños, como Gabe lo ha dicho también a nosotros, él no solamente nos quiere ver luchar aquí, quiere que salgamos a otras partes, que nos hacemos notar. Y es lo que quiero. Yo quiero dejar mi marca en esto que es la lucha libre. Que sepan quién soy por lo que hice aquí en el cuadrilátero. Y ahorita no se puede porque pues no hay por la pandemia. Pero sé que pronto va a pasar y en cuanto podamos vamos a volver a estar a todo, dándolo todo siempre.
I'm kind of indebted to myself to, it's like, that's it. You're just gonna, okay, the world went sideways, so you're gonna go with the world? It's like, no. It's like, no, you gotta pick this up, keep it going.
I got people to take care of. I got a family to support. And I need to make sure they're okay before I'm okay. So that's what keeps me going. That's what wakes me up every morning at 4 o'clock in the morning to go out and do what I need to do to make money to support my family.
Because Pro Wrestling Revolution, it brought me out of my shell. And Gabe's done a lot for me. He's done a lot for everybody else. And what I'm looking forward to the most is working my butt off in this ring for him.
Pro Wrestling Revolution is gonna come back stronger, harder, bigger. Not because they want to, but because they know they have to. And I can't wait for it.
The second that we can start grinding, we're gonna grind because we don't miss a second of our time because I think we've had enough time to take a break. The second that they say go, green light, it means go. It's not yellow, it's green. So I'm taking off.
And I'm hoping that the crowd is gonna have just as much energy, if not more, than they did before all of this happened, before the pandemic, and that we'll be able to feed off of that because we've been wanting it, the world has been wanting it, the world has been needing it, and I think it's gonna be the most amazing feeling in the world when we can bring that back.
Well, when I was a kid, I didn't have really much. So wrestling, again, it was lucha libre, was my escape, was my bond with my dad. I basically made a promise to myself that I was gonna make it in order to show my dad that all those years that he believed in me, and now I can say, look, that I made you proud.
What you meant.